Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever I'm reaching you in the world. I would like to say welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm Liverpool 12th Man, and we are going to just be doing a little Tuesday talks. Usually it's a Tuesday tactics day, but hey, I'm not going to go too much into the tactics of what we had to do to beat the Blues on Sunday. Big up, big up, big up. Oh, appreciate it, appreciate it. Much love, much love. From across the pond there, Jelly Domino and JK. Big up, big up. Big up, Red for Life. I see you too. Um, just going to go into a couple of things today. I'm going to be joined here shortly by Brian as well, but we're going to just go into some things about basically about some updates, some news, some things stuff like that, and just make it a little easy Tuesday, before we have to go into this next match. I mean, these matches are coming fast and furious, to say the least. And my name is not Vin Diesel. Big up to John Conway and big up to Honesty. I got you. We got that, though. We got that. We do have that, Honesty. I do have that. We have that episode coming up. I'm trying to, again, like the only reason why I've postponed doing it is because some of the participants that I said I was going to be like somewhat like, I don't know, this holding just holding appropriately holding, I should say, to the fire. And I wanted to make sure I'm a good guy. So, and especially some of these people are my friends and as such. So, I'm trying to make sure that they have their day in court, I guess you could say, So, it's not going to be like a Judge Judy concept, but it's definitely going to be one where we definitely hold them out, So it is what it is. I'm joined here with Brian. Brian has just joined us too. Let me bring Brian in as well. Big up, Brian. How are you doing?
Good evening. Sorry I'm late.
No worries. I know exactly. I am from the Philly area, so like yeah, definitely. So yeah, it gets kind of ruthless to say the least. So Brian, we were just going to go over some of the things that are going on today, or in the news today, I should say. There's been an announcement that there will be 3 fixture changes for us coming in April. Our schedule is going to look like this. It's going to basically see the games of Sheffield United, Manchester United, and Crystal Palace all moving because of television scheduling requests. The Reds are, since the Reds are involved in the title race, it means more eyes are focused in on, our pursuits of silverware. So we've been scheduled for television coverage against those 3 sides I just mentioned. And also, also because of the one of the major reasons why also for the change up in our schedule is because the kickoff versus the Red Devils has been altered because of police requests. So it's kind of annoying that that we have to go that we got to continuously move these games around and people it can be kind of difficult too, because I mean, like, there's a lot of fans. I mean, this game's a global game, but a lot of the games get being pushed around and moved around. Hypothetically, if I booked a ticket to come in for the original date, and fly out, you're basically screwed. You got to figure out how to like accommodate yourself and how to get another hotel maybe, or extend your hotel or get different tickets. It'd be kind of crazy. But Sheffield United is going to be at 7:30 on April 4th. And it's going to be on TNT Sports over in England. And then Manchester United is going to be April 7th at 3:30 on Sky Sports. And then Crystal Palace will be 2 p.m. on April 14th, which is kind of crazy. So that we had to move those games around. How you feel about that? Does that annoy you, or are you just whatever?
Well, it's 3 weeks. Like that's like you're saying. If you're booking a match, they don't. It's not a concrete rule, but they set a rule for themselves, which they broke with our game there a couple of weeks ago. That any game that's going to be changed, they'll change it
Mhm.
3 weeks in advance, because that 3 weeks is enough to give fans. So yeah, if I was booking any game, I'd have it in the back of my mind that these guys can just change it at any moment. 3 weeks,
Yeah.
up to 3 weeks. So yeah, for anyone that wants to say sit there in September and book a flight for a game in March or April, you may as well play the lottery, because they can move
Hmm.
any game at any time, as long
Yep.
as they like. That thing about 3 weeks is just something they say for themselves. But again, and you'll also have FA Cup games now tonight and tomorrow night, that will change
Mhm.
schedules as well. That will knock games out. So there's more to come, like, and it's always the same thing. They change these things, and then it's like, oh, the police asked us, but they're there from day one. They know. Like, there's kind of like, there'll be people out there now that they can look at a fixture and they'll say, yeah, that's getting changed. 6 months before,
Mhm.
they're going to change that one. They're going to change that one. They're going to change that one. The policing thing is always, it's Man United versus Liverpool. It's not an
Mhm.
FA Cup draw. They know we're playing them twice a season, every season. It's not like it's a surprise that we're having. It's, oh God, well, oh, how do we get security together for this? It's the same
They know
excuse
it's
they use
happening.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly. They know it's happening.
it's usually TV companies. So, and then they like, whenever they say police, then that's just saying, without saying it, that's just saying we don't trust fans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Basically.
they're just
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just blaming fans, saying, oh, we don't have enough police to look after all of them.
Yep.
So
There was
yeah.
another thing too. Honesty posted this. I saw this as well. It was on Dave OC Cop on Twitter. He said, according to the Telegraph has reported that Ajax are in talks with Pep Linders for him to take over next season. I'm paraphrasing what they wrote. But basically, Pep Linders is possibly the man that they have targeted to take over Ajax. Ajax has not had a good season this year. They definitely have fallen off on some hard
Putting it
times. They're
mildly.
really is that
That's putting it mildly. Yeah, they were bottom of the league at one point. They've never
yeah.
been bottom. Like,
They
literally,
ne- and
they're breaking
it's their
they're
breaking
breaking
point.
records. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing things this season that they've literally, like, I'm not in a good way. They're doing things they've never done before. It's
Do they have
weird.
do they have relegation? Do they have
Oh
relegation
yeah,
in
yeah,
they do
yeah, yeah.
in Holland?
Three and three. Yeah, three. I think it's three up, three down. It's at least two up, two down.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly standard. Yeah, they don't have any of those kind of weird things where they split the season in half, and the bottom half. It's a straight normal league, relegation, promotion.
Mm.
But they're not. They've turned it around a little bit. They're not going to go down. But well, that'd be a bad. That'd be a bad
Yeah,
appointment for them, I think.
yeah. JK says he always liked Ajax team with history, etc. But this season has been good for them, so Pep has a little bit easier. Not has it a little bit easier not going into a winning side. It's an honest take. It's a pretty
I
honest take.
wouldn't
It'd be
have him.
like
He's not
what's
a big
that?
enough manager for Ajax. I wouldn't have him. He's got no connection to Ajax. He's not a big enough manager for Ajax. He
Wow.
only
Oh
ever
wow.
had. Well, he's not a manager. He only ever had one managerial job before,
No, I get
and he
that. I
failed.
get that. Only because
Yeah,
like he's done the Dutch. He's got the Dutch connection. So I mean
yeah.
that is.
No,
I know that's very loose and very that's an easy cop out. But I mean that that is at least he would be returning home. He would be kind of like going to the biggest
well,
side. I'd say easily the biggest club in Holland by far, Ajax. So
yeah. Well, to be honest, it'd be like, I know he's an assistant manager. He's not a manager. So
yeah, no, I get you.
I'd think, if I was an Ajax fan, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want him on. I wouldn't want him top of the list. Like, let him go and get a job at somewhere else. But I'm sure he does want to be a manager. But I'm not sure why just being an assistant manager to Klopp, which doesn't prove anything in terms of how good you are as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
To get to one, maybe it is enough to get you one of the biggest jobs, you know. But I wouldn't. I'd just say if I was an Ajax fan, he was the last person I wanted getting the Liverpool job.
Interesting. Yeah, I got
But
you.
the second last person I wanted to get the Liverpool job.
I have some other news here. So the other news that I have here is on the injury updates. I have the injury updates. I know everyone's like, "Oh, yes, yes." No, I'm sure no one's saying that. Because I mean, like, because most likely with our luck, it's just someone being added to that list.
Usually, yeah.
It's usually someone added to that list instead of coming off that list. But there is some good positive outlooks on this. It says basically, or what I saw, at least this is going off the press conference at least. Stefan Bajcetic is pain free, but he did not get the green light yet for team training. So that's at least a little bit of a positive. Klopp also said Wataru Endo. As far as Endo, he got a proper knock against Chelsea, quote unquote, a proper knock against Chelsea. And quote unquote, we will have to see. That's at least what the boss said on his availability.
It's exactly what we talked about last night, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's exactly what we talked about.
We saw him lose. I know it's all. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, we were saying that last night that there was going to be people who were going to wake up after that final, and all the adrenaline would have worn off, and all the other stuff, the serotonin, all those things wear off, and they were going to wake up in an awful lot of pain because some of them were getting like boys who didn't get injured in the game but were getting kicked. It was going to come up.
That's just a lot, though, man. That's just a lot about Endo. I'm sorry. I mean, like, I know there's been a coming to Endo moment for a lot of people, but that's just a lot about that guy's like resilience, about that guy's like determination and just sure.
Well,
like,
he won't be the only one. He won't be the only one. Like, I'm not saying it against him. I'm saying we've got 5 or 6 that are just like that as well. It's not only like we don't just have him like that. We've got 5 or 6 players that like a Kanade, I'd say was getting like that was a proper like everybody that nobody could know, like everybody knew yesterday there was no going off. There was unless you get dragged off, there's no putting your hand up going, yeah, I don't feel brilliant, I might swap me out. It was like no. Everyone knew they were needed. So Endo in the 6 probably got a lot of it as well. But I think
definitely.
I think
there's a couple of challenges that he went in where you're just like you could see possibly of like something maybe happened there or maybe happened here type challenges.
Do you remember Daniel Sturridge? Like Brendan Rodgers or Jurgen Klopp came out and said it. Like he said, look, yada yada yada, everything about Sturridge, but he was kind of saying like sometimes you have to learn how to play with pain. Just some players, they can play with pain. Like i.e. they wake up on the morning of the game and they've got something small, but they know they could play with it, but it's a bit sore or whatever. It was like Daniel Sturridge was the kind of player that unless he was 100% pain free and felt perfect, he'd be texting the manager saying, "I'm not good to go today." You just need guys who just go, "No, I'm good, I'm fine," not to their detriment. If there was something wrong with Endo and he stayed on, it's no, that's bad. It's like, no, put your hand up and say there's something wrong with you. But if it's just those kicks and those knocks that you get, like Sturridge, like Klopp really hung Sturridge out to dry with that comment. He was saying some players need to learn how to play with pain, and it was just him saying this guy will not play unless he's 100% pain free, and no footballer is ever at 100%.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't have the backbone for it. He would have gone off, is what I'm trying to say yesterday. He would have gone off in that final after about 60 minutes because he had a sore bum or something. Right?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He fell on his arse and he didn't. Oh, I hurt myself. Not properly injured. Just a little knock on the ankle. Oh no, can't play on. Can't play on. I got a knock. Can't play on.
Right. No,
You know, you can't have that.
yeah, there is certainly. So I will give I do know Daniel. So I will say that I'm not necessarily going to say anything. I'm sure there's going to be some bias in what I have to say. So because he's done his those knocks that you're referring to when he actually has come over to Arizona actually or here in the United States. He did some of his rehabilitation over here in the States. So yeah, I understand during some of the different knocks that he's had throughout his career. And he was possibly one of the most talented, front men that we've had the graces of having. But it's just, keeping him fit
Oh yeah, he
and
did. Yeah, he
was
was.
an issue, certainly.
He was injured. Yeah, no, definitely he was injured. But it was a kind of a yeah. It was just a sort of a point the Klopp is making. I think that some players have a higher pain threshold. You
Mhm.
know, and he's not the only one either. It's not just him. It's just but if you like you look at that Sturridge Suarez season,
Mhm.
gets overlooked. You know, Suarez, obviously brought the best there. Like Daniel Sturridge played every game that season, nearly.
Right.
He hadn't done that in his whole career, and just I'd say Suarez just banging in goals was like he put in one of the best goal scoring seasons of any Liverpool striker, but he just ended up about 10 goals behind Suarez.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nobody remembers
Yeah.
it. But he
Right.
scored 20 odd goals. I think he scored 22 goals, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. It was in the
It's
20s. I know that. He was a 20
phenomenal.
20 plus goal scorer that year. Yep.
Yeah, phenomenal record. But yeah, Luis Suarez was there, so
Yeah.
almost only Liverpool fans and people that were playing fantasy football every week that had Sturridge. That was the template for that year was Sturridge and Suarez up front.
Yeah.
It's just
And yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah. And to his credit, he did know that this was possibly one of his best year, or what playing with Suarez was going to be one of his best opportunities to really shine and get some goals. Because I mean, I don't think he really wanted to miss out on that party. But let me see. There is some more news on the front. I saw some people in the chats speaking on this. So Darwin Nunez, Mo Salah, and Dominic Szoboszlai are quote unquote, touch and go to play on Wednesday. It doesn't necessarily sound overwhelmingly positive. It's not exactly the biggest reassurance that they're going to be available and ready to rock. But I think very few of us thought that we would see them in this Wednesday fixture. I think more so at least for myself, I was looking at them to probably be a part of 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here type involvements, not starting and trying to get a full 90, especially, or even a 60 out of them. Was that your opinion too?
I wouldn't have either of them near the game if they're not, they're still, touch and go. Maybe Nunes.
Mhm.
I wouldn't give yourself even the temptation of bringing on Salah. I'd have this game, maybe like I got nearly all kids in this game,
Mhm.
apart from one or two. I'd have nothing but young lads, and I don't really see point in risking a Salah in a game like this. If Nunes was the closer one, 20 minutes. I think Salah is the kind of player that can come into a game against Forest without having minutes easier than
Mhm.
Nunes might. Yeah, it's really not a game for taking risks.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
isn't. Anybody that's not right, look, we just don't have the leeway here. We just don't have the
Yeah.
space to make any more to lose anybody else. Which look, this is a 90-minute game. We're almost guaranteed to get someone else in this game that might only be out for the next game or whatever. Not saying we're going to lose someone else for the season, but someone else will get a knock in this game or get a kick. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
just not worth it. It's just really not worth it to. I think we should have enough to put in a performance at home anyway. And yeah, it's unfortunate. Like we can't just so soon after that we're talking about this. I'd leave them all out. I'd leave them all at home.
Honesty says Dom was fighting medical to start. Klopp said, "Touch and go," but we will see after today's training session in his press conference.
He'd be a good one to get.
He'd be good.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him. Yeah. No problem with him coming in.
His injury is a little weird because I mean he's not really had issues with hamstrings or muscle injuries as such. He's had a couple of injuries, but they weren't necessarily like muscle injuries. They were like big like knocks and everything. Big up, Bayesian Reds TVs, Bayesian Pops LFC. Pops is in the house. Big up.
Dr. Pop.
Team Capri Sun for the win. Big up. Definitely Team Capri Sun. We're going to do a preview tomorrow before the game. But I will touch on it just a little bit in that, like, I am looking forward to seeing this team step up one more time, make their own little Daft Punk, remix basically. For everyone out there, the Daft Punk fans out there. But I'm interested to see what lineup we do come out with. I'm interested to see what players we have available. That's the biggest thing. The last person I had on this list of availabilities was, and hold for it, I'm sure everyone's in like a high anticipation for this little update. Drum roll. Last, and I would say maybe least for some, maybe not least for others. Klopp has said there is no time frame, quote unquote, no time frame on a return for Thiago. Although nice I am still, yeah, I know. That's really no time frame means maybe we'll see him, maybe we won't. But I mean, is it really even that important to any of us anymore about that? Right, guys, and we've seen how the team has played. We would love to have his
body is a body.
Huh?
Oh man, a body is a body. If he was back fit and he was available, we'd make use out of him. Don't worry about that. We'd have a job for him. No, that like if it's coming on for the last half hour of a game, if it's starting the game, that like tomorrow night's game, he'd be filling a gap and he'd be doing a really good job because he's Thiago. It's just even if it was 3 or 4 games at the end of the season, if we have injuries, he can come in, he can step in. That's never been the issue. It's just like I just always said, look, let's talk about Thiago when he's fit. Until he's fit, let's leave it off the table. Because when he comes back, there's no doubt he can do a job for us. But I'd be there with the lads. Like I know a lot of people are throwing him in. I know you'll do the preview, but I'd be definitely going along the line of Tsimikas, Bradley, Gomez, Kwanzaa, McConnell, Clark, Elliott, and then whatever 3 kids you want to put up front, Dans, Kumas. Like I'd be going full under 21.
Oh wow!
I wouldn't.
I don't know if
I've seen loads of shouts from McAllister. Starting. I'm like, no way, man. He's just done that fight. No chance. Please don't start. I know he might, but I don't want him to start.
I mean,
want him on the bench.
So there was one thing, and I'll talk about now. I'll probably talk about it again tomorrow, so people don't get angry. Giving you a little bit of a teaser, almost in a sense, a little teaser gift here for tomorrow's episode. But I like Dan's. I like the the promise of what I've seen. He played well in the cup game. Obviously had it's a hell of an introduction to the league or to the first team. To be thrown in the games that he's actually been able to play in. But I also don't know if you're going to start Cody Hakpo. I don't know if you start Cody Hakpo on the left wing. I know we've had this discussion about what's Cody's best position. And I know there are people that want to see him in the left wing. I as well said that possibly left wing is his best position, but unfortunately, I don't have enough sample size to necessarily say definitively yes or no that's the case. But I just think that if Cody starts, I would prefer to see him as a striker as opposed to a left wing on a team composed of youngsters. You know, I
Depends
would
which
like to
kid
just
you want.
say, okay, utilize their pace on the wings and then utilize Cody as that central, you know, veteran presence in the middle. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, it depends which kid you want to start. Like if you're playing, oh yeah, look, Pops has said it exactly there.
And
This is
Pops,
what I
I
was
know,
going
I
to say.
saw Pops says, yeah, he says put
If you want to start
Pops
Dan,
says
like
start
Dan's
him
can't
left,
play on the
put
left.
hands down the middle. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
if he
say
wants to
again.
start, yeah, sorry, if he wants to start Dan
Mhm.
and Dan's can't play on the left, then yeah, just. But like if he wants to start some kid on the left, then put Gakpo in the middle. But I don't know. Like I wouldn't at all be worried about it. I mean, I'd have the likes of Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gakpo, and hopefully Nunes on the bench. But
Mhm.
I'd have no problem. I'd have no problem at all starting these guys. It's just who else, like you said, the only kind of thing to do with this is the stuff that we don't know and we can't know. It's basically who's totally knackered after the final, who's had a
Yeah,
knock, who will be
yeah,
ready.
yeah.
But yeah, like someone else was saying there, anyone that played the 120, the 120 minutes
120 minutes, yeah.
probably
And that
won't be
was
starting.
McAllister. No, excuse me, not McAllister. That was Diaz played 120 minutes. Elliott played 120 minutes.
Yeah,
I know those for a
Keller,
fact because I remember that was some of the points I gave in giving them a little bit higher rating. And I think I'd have to double check, but I think Endo played close to 120 minutes, right? If not all 120, right? I'd have to double check. But yeah, it was a good lineup yesterday. Big up to Keep It Real. I mean, let me get my shout outs right now. Keep It Real, Redbird, Bonkers, Bayesian
evening.
Pops, I mentioned earlier, Realism, Jared, Honesty in the house for sure. JK, Jay Kismet is in the house, you know. A lot of good names. Red for Life. I spoke about Jelly Domino earlier. John Conway, always loyal and definitely proper red. Like my feelings about proper reds. It's just a matter of just supporting each other. You know, that's the most essential portion of being a proper red. At least to me, that's the most essential portion of that. You know, is just supporting each other and definitely helping and lifting each other up because we're all we got, right? So, oh man, so what else do I have on the list here? Oh, you know, it's a really cool thing that I saw too, and this is something for excuse me. This is something for those of you that are in Liverpool. Big up KJ. Big up KJ. Um, Something that is going to be fortunate for a lot of you that are in Liverpool or can venture to Liverpool. Liverpool fans will be able to get their photo taken with the League Cup at Anfield. That's pretty cool. That's definitely pretty cool. I've gotten my photo taken with the with the one, not the year. Unfortunately, it wasn't the year that we won the league. It was the year after that we won. I got a picture taken with the trophy, but yeah, I much rather see red ribbons hanging from there than the blue ribbons that I had to take a picture next to. But but all the same,
Photoshop, dude.
maybe it's
Photoshop. You can tell
yeah,
you that
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah, right.
Photoshop.
Yeah, that's a good. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Either that, or you can just see me like throwing up on the trophy there. Maybe something like that. Um, but yeah, that's pretty cool. But hey, if you are going to, or if you do want to do that, you have to book an appointment. You have to like schedule some type of appointment. So you will have to contact them to make the appointment to get a photo taken with it. Also, some really cool news. Klopp said he will be on the bus if there's a trophy parade. So despite the fact that, you know, our Kaiser will be leaving at the end of the season, if there is a trophy parade, a trophy parade, Jurgen will be on the bus, which will be kind of pretty cool. I'm sure a lot of people will want to show up just for that, you know,
Rightly so.
especially that.
Yeah, rightly so. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. He may have. Yeah, no, I just thinking there. Why wouldn't he be? But then it was, yeah, like that thing could actually be weeks.
Yeah,
That could take
like
a
after
while
the
to take.
season. Yeah, after
Yeah,
the
yeah.
season's already
Sometimes
done
they
and over.
do take a while. Yeah, the new manager could be there like
Right.
a few weeks before that, so it might be, yeah, it'd be a bit silly, say, just for instance, if it was Alonso on the bus, like. But yeah, it will be a bit. Yeah, that'd be different. That'd be different. The manager having to
Mhm.
come back for that, having
Yeah,
said all the goodbyes.
imagine if hypothetically, I'm not saying who the coach would be, but let's say hypothetically we get it all locked up and ready to rock and roll. Do we like hold back until after the parade to do that, or do we, or what is that process going to be like, with the new,
Ideally,
signature?
you'd get the parade done first. Ideally you'd get some parade organized for basically the first weekend after the season ends, after
Mm-hmm.
the last game is over. But I know this Europa League thing, but we might get knocked out of that. We might get knocked out of the FA Cup. It's like, so we'll know. Yeah, like ideally you'd have season ends. 5, 6, 7 days later, maybe there's a parade, and
Right,
then
right,
Klopp
exactly.
leave, and then the new guy will come in. Yeah, you don't want a new guy coming in. Then 2 weeks later, there's a parade, so Klopp comes back, and it's like, but hey,
Hmm.
look, you know, I know Jared is saying we no parades are, but it's like if it goes on
You
too
never
long,
know.
or yeah, because they had
You
delays the last time they were supposed to do something, then they were going to do something else. I
Right,
don't know.
right.
They need to be on top of this one because we know clubs can get sloppy. Like
Yeah, and
clubs,
on top of that, I was going to say real quick. On
yeah,
top of that, like as in considering the magnitude of this parade, which depending on what we end up winning, whatever is the trophy haul at the end of the year, we already have one trophy at least, So depending on what the trophy haul is, depending on obviously the magnitude again of it being Klopp's, final like tip of the cap to the fans, and your opportunity to see him on and with the club in this facility at least. Um, oh man, that's going to it's that you can expect to see, and probably a heightened response of people showing up just for those reasons alone, and that means more police presence, more the more
that's the other
emphasis
thing.
on concerns about security and everything else and dealing with those types of things.
Yeah,
More
that's
of
the other thing.
getting things
You
on
don't get,
down. Yeah,
yeah, you don't just the club just doesn't get to decide when it does it.
exactly,
'Cause you're
exactly.
driving a plane through the middle of Liverpool.
Yeah,
You have to
exactly.
get ambulance clearance. You have to get fire clearance. You have to get city council. And I know they're always very good for these things. And
Right,
thankfully, us needing parades organized isn't a new thing, you know.
right.
But yeah, you do have to get like something like you could say, can we do it then? They go, well, there's this thing on the Friday. We don't want you doing it that weekend because yeah, such and such is happening in London and half the police are away.
Hmm.
It is kind
Yeah,
of complicated and it's a
it's
delicate
complicated.
situation.
It's complicated.
But just get a
Yeah.
cardboard cutout of them. Just get a cardboard cutout of them, nail it to the front of the bus, and
There
drive
you
it
go.
around, or get one of those fancy hologram jobs.
Yeah.
But
Oh
it will
yeah.
be very awkward, like because it'll be like, do I do my big emotional kind of going around and saying goodbye to everybody thing, or and then have that kind of weird or not awkwardness, but then have that weird thing where you come back a couple of weeks later for parade, or do you kind of wait because you know there's going to be a parade and kind of say goodbyes to the say that not lesser people, but the kind of the people that you didn't know that long.
Right.
'Cause how would you do it? Like, because if you knew like you were, let's just say you knew you were leaving your job and you were
Hmm.
going to be coming back in 2 weeks for a
Hmm.
day long work party, say for someone. Like, would you go around making all your goodbyes and getting all teary eyed with everyone, or would you just because you're going back 2 weeks, going, oh well, how's it going? Or do you
Yeah.
just wait until the next time when you know that will
Yeah.
be the last time
When
you're
that
in?
when that one's the real party.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Um. I was gonna have two more interesting little entries in here. Okay, so this is according to the Daily Mail, so I guess you could take that for what it's worth. But
Nothing.
exactly. But according to them, and wait, you can get the drum roll, please, again. Big up Cedric before we say that. Big up Cedric Lopez, always tuning in whether he's at work or on the go. Definitely proper read. Appreciate you, Cedric.
And Pyers.
Andy Roberts.
Well, Pyers.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Pyers is back as well with the.
Oh, I see. Pyers. Oh, yeah. Let's not let Pyers ruin this announcement, which is going to be an interesting response. And I have two really, really cool little questions here, or two little one a question by me, and then this is also this is the last update I'm going to bring into it. Andy Robertson, according to the Daily Mail, Andy Robertson is Bayern Munich's top choice to replace left back Alphonso Davies in the summer. How does the chat feel about that? Brian, how do you feel about that?
I did see. I saw somebody put it up on a video.
Yeah,
I did see that, and it did make me think. What would be? I didn't believe it, obviously, but I was thinking, well, is he? Because I said it, like, there will be players that will leave because a new manager will come in with new ideas.
Yeah,
and there'll be players that might have been out of the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we really have anyone out of the cold, but he is the kind of guy that I would have thought. Well, he's a very Klopp player. He's a very, very specific type of player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, right, okay. So if you had to force me to pick someone that I thought might be sellable, a player that a new manager might want to sell, I would have had maybe a Robbo and maybe maybe someone like Gravenberch. But I just think, he seemed to me like the kind of player, but this isn't what I'm saying. This is why this story is coming out there, because it is. If my tiny little brain can kind of think up that story in that kind of scenario, then people at sports desks with nothing to roll can think that up as well. It's like, he comes in with Klopp goes. It's
wow, yeah. Look at what Alexander had this morning. He said,
it's like the end of a journey.
If he's won it all and he wins the Prem with Klopp for one last time, what's the reason of sticking around?
Yeah, it's a kind of it's a clear end of journey kind of story arc. That a guy who is based his game around high energy running and all of that, and who I've said before, I don't really see transitioning into a different role. I don't see him becoming a holding midfielder or a centre half. So I think he's always going to have to be. So I always thought at some point he'd have to go to a because he can't keep up being Robbo, the human freight train, up and down the line forever, and he's getting to that 30 type of age bracket now. So it makes sense to put him in that's a very 2 + 2 = transfer story. Again, why Bayern? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get ready, link that to a potential Klopp to Bayern type scenario. But again, yeah, I don't see it. I can see him being a bit of a shock transfer. Maybe I can see him. Maybe
I don't even understand. Not to I don't even understand why Alphonso Davies wants to go to Real Madrid. I understand why anyone would want to go to Real Madrid, but what I'm saying is I don't understand necessarily why he wants to why he's targeting going to Real Madrid, considering they're heavily linked to getting Mbappe. Obviously, they have Vinny Jr., and one of the major reasons why he's looking for an exit from Bayern is because he doesn't want to play left back anymore. So, like, if you don't want to play left back or left wing back, whatever you want to classify his position as, there's no way Alphonso Davies is starting in front of Vinny Jr. There's no way Alphonso Davies is starting in front of Mbappe if either one of them ends up playing left wing. I don't understand this move for him.
it's
And I get he's a Madrid fan, but I mean, what's the point of being for a player? You could be a fan of the club, but doesn't necessarily mean that you want to go and ride bench. You know what I mean?
well.
Like,
Let's look at it this way. Again, I'm going to pull my. We don't know what's going on in any man's head, let alone a player. And he could very well have said that to get out. Players will say things to get out. Will say things to get out of clubs. And I can say, oh, I'd never go out with such and such a girl if they, or whatever. And then the next thing, oh, my dream girl who actually asked me out, and I said, okay, well, I forgot all about that stipulation all of a sudden, because my dream girl asked me out. Because now I don't have a problem with that stuff that I used to have a problem with before. Because I'll forget about it for her, So Real Madrid is obviously his dream girl. He's like, no, forget, hey, now forget that stuff I said about no, I'll play anywhere for Real Madrid. And also, perhaps he thinks playing for Madrid, it's not like he's going to be playing fullback. He's going to be getting to do a lot of attacking, and perhaps he also feels that he might get to play further forward if Vinny leaves and they play Mbappe slightly more centrally, which I don't think Mbappe will want. But again, anyway,
I don't think
I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you're having that, like, Brian, if you're having that like, as in, we don't have an assurance that Ancelotti is going to be, staying there for long. If I know that there was rumors about him taking over for Brazil or something along those lines, but if you're, let's say, you have this conversation and each of these players are coming into the manager's office, like, I'm sorry, but Davies' request is probably going to be the last that you honor out of the three,
Yeah, he won't be requesting it. It'll be a case of asking, where do you plan to play me? And if they give him the right answer, or an answer that he's happy with, I mean, I think it's a sacrifice to be prepared to make to play in that team with the players you've just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'd walk in or going, slam his fist on the table and go, yes, I see your 300 grand a week contract, but all I want to know is, are you going to play me left wing? Yeah, I think, I'm not sure he'd do that. I just think he'd go in there and go, yeah, cool. Look, he's the kind of player, they signed a lot of players like that. It'd be a bit of a coin toss whether he'd actually, like, he could be back on loan at Dortmund in a year's time.
Mm-hmm.
Or he can be starting every week for Madrid. I think it's a good move for Madrid. But again, like with Robertson, I think maybe he might be tempted by an offer like a Bayern or something new. It's like for last big contract that he might get. He might get a bigger contract moving somewhere else. I don't think he'd be afraid of it. He's not from Liverpool. It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, I wouldn't begrudge him saying, do you know what, I've won everything with Klopp, especially if he gets the league this year. And the new coach sees me as more of a rotation option. Say it like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the chat saying, like, Real Madrid never learned. This is Real. Keep it real. Saying Real Madrid never learned buying all the biggest egos in football. Not going to end well for them. Roster Crab says on Davis, he has to play left back or hold Pine. KJ says Vinny won't leave Madrid. And then I won't go into Pierre's comments, but and then KJ also says not this season. Fonzie will play left back because it's Madrid. I mean, yeah, you know what? Like, it is what it is, but I mean, like I just don't know if, like,
a lot of players, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, a lot of players get unhappy at Bayern when they're not.
But
German.
what's that say about Bayern Munich?
Yeah, no, Bayern is a tough place to be, man. It really is. There's a lot of there's a lot of egos there, and no one can say it hasn't worked for them. You know, they dominate there. But a lot of players, very, very good footballers, don't make it at Bayern because it's ruthless, fairly ruthless there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people fall out with people because they're German as well. So uh, ex pros ex pros are not known for, you know, keeping their counsel. You know, and even though these guys are running the club, they'll tell it like it is, and they'll speak about players in the press. And a lot of it will go along the lines of, if player X is unhappy, then they need to buck the hell up and start playing better, because the reason they're not playing is because they're not bloody good enough. You know,
Right.
that'd be a general version of that, you know. And so some
Yeah.
players will kind of go, right, well, F you right back, man. I'm going to show you just how bloody good I am. Go out there, I'm going to,
Right.
you know. And other players are straight on the phone to their agent going, did you hear what that dickhead
Get me
just
out
said?
of
Get me out of here.
Yeah.
Get
Get me
me
out of
out of here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of players fall out. A lot of players
Yeah.
thrive there, you know. But the German players probably get a little bit more. They get the good ones, just like with the Dutch, like the amount of stick Van Dijk gets, you know. The good ones will get stick as well. But yeah, any new players, young foreign players coming in, perhaps don't get as much respect that they think they deserve. And if they are a little bit, say, touchy or whatever,
hmm
straight on the phone to the agent, say, "Get me gone, get me out of here."
Here's so this is the last bit of what I wanted to have on the agenda today. And it's a funny little comment, or no, funny not comment. Funny, I don't know, something I thought would be fun to partake in. So this is my final parting shot. Um, are Chelsea the new Spurs, or is it that London is the bottle making capital of England? That's my question is, are Chelsea the new Spurs? Or is it just simply that London is the new bottle making capital of England, considering, you know, the recent history of bottle jobs that we've seen via London clubs, you know, whether it's Arsenal having I don't know how many points, 8 points I think, or something like that, of a lead going in and dropping the season, you know, the fact that Chelsea has lost 6 straight finals. You know, like the fact that Spurs are just that Spurs. You know, I'm sure my London numbers are going to go up from this statement, but all good, all good. Only the Londoners that like the Reds are the ones I'm necessarily concerned about anyway. So,
That's
what
all you
would
got
you
to worry
say,
about.
Brian? Yeah, nothing to worry about. What would you say,
Well, hey,
Brian?
look, are they the new Spurs? Are they the new Spurs? That's a good question. That's like, it's only two. It's less than, it's not 2 years ago. It's just under 3 years ago. They were lifting the European Cup, the 2021 Champions League, Chelsea, and less than 3 seasons later, having spent more money than pretty much anybody. They're what, 11th?
Mm-hmm.
I, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they've lost 3 finals. I don't really, yeah, like what
They've
did
lost.
they
They've
accuse
lost
Spurs
six.
of?
They've lost 6 straight finals. The six
Yeah,
finals that they've been a part of, they've lost all 6.
yeah, domestic. Like they accuse Spurs of kind of throwing away. Like they're not even in a position to do what they accuse. Like Spurs are kind of messing up. Like what are they
Mm-hmm.
going to do? Mess up finishing 10th?
No,
Yeah,
currently Chelsea sit at 11th in the
yeah.
table right now.
Being Spursy would be being second at the moment and ending up in fifth. Whereas Chelsea haven't. I mean, Chelsea they take your arm off for fifth at the moment. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're not even. They don't even have like. There's a kind of an inherent likability in that whole being Spursy thing, where it's sort of. It's not pity or, but I just think it's kind of like there is something kind of funny about it. But with Chelsea, it's just like watching someone's demise that deserves to be where they are. It's. Well, I think, yeah, there isn't really a team in London that has been, I would call, a proper title contender since that last decent Chelsea side, maybe. So yeah, they're not producing teams that can. Yeah, again, look, like I say, Chelsea won the Champions League in 2021. So it's not that long ago they were officially the best team in Europe.
I mean,
But
Rasta
to go
Crab
from where they are,
says Chelsea need to spend another $1 billion to be relevant.
I don't know. I think Poch is on the hook for that. I think. I
You
just
really
don't
think
think
Poch
they
is
know
on the hook
what.
for that? You really think Poch is on the hook for all of the signatures and everything that's been made under, whether it was Lampard, then
No, he's on the
Potter,
hook for
then
yesterday.
Lampard again, and
No, he's on the
then
hook. No, he's on the hook. No. Stop. He's on the hook for yesterday. He's on the
yesterday.
hook
I
for
got you.
losing that game.
I got you.
That's. Yeah,
Mhm.
he said he sat down with your man. Like, Chelsea fans who are any Chelsea fan who's under the age of 25 right now won't know anything other than them. Under the age of 30 won't know anything other than them being successful by firing managers after 1 or 2 years, no matter how good they are.
Mhm.
That's what they do, is they fire managers and then they get in another one that fixes stuff. But they've run out of, like, all the managers are gone now. There's no good managers left that are
There's
guaranteed
no
to come in.
Brian, real quick, Brian. I heard so. Rory, who is a big, Chelsea supporter, he's a big name on YouTube, and now he's doing, I think, Sky Sports. I think he does Talk Sports, at least, or Talk Sport. I meant. I saw a broadcast where he was chopping it up basically about with oh, now I'm gonna go blank on his name. In all due respect, because he's a big name as well. He's on the Big Six. He represents Chelsea on the Big Six broadcast. I'm gonna go blank on his name. I'm sorry. It begins with an M. But they were chopping it up about like the problems and what's going on with Chelsea. And it was very interesting that one, he kept mentioning about how like Chelsea for some time, at least, during that Matisse, thank you, keep it real, thank you. And big up to Matisse, he was talking about how Chelsea for some time didn't do Chelsea would go no longer than a year without winning something. So they would win, and then maybe they would have a year where they don't win something, but that very next year they would win. Okay. And as of late, this administration has taken over for the last 2 years, and they haven't won anything. And it's a new thing for them. And what was really, really touched my nerve a little bit, touched the nerves of me at least, was that when he was saying that, I was sitting there going, he's talking about, oh, well, he kept, well, obviously I hate when people go, oh, American owners, American this, American that, blah, blah, blah. That's stupid. But he kept talking about this ownership that had taken over this club, and he was comparing it to the previous ownership, obviously, with Roman. And what really made me aggravated to hear is that he was still referencing about how they'd won so much and done this and done that. And I'm like sitting there going like, yeah, but those decades of winning that you're talking about, you cheated. You cheated. Like, as in this current administration has come out and ratted on themselves, basically, knowing that you cheated during those decades of prominence for your club. And yet you just glaze over it as if it didn't happen, and there's a chance that because they might, because it's a new administration, like as in the penalties aren't going to be as strict, or they might not get penalized at all, possibly, or at least in stripping of titles or points deductions of such and such. But it's very interesting, especially since we just had the reduction of points for Everton, going from 10 points to now 6 points, being the penalty that they had to serve out, and how they're on the limbo of figuring out whether they're going to get penalized again and whether it's double jeopardy or not. But it really, really touched a nerve for me when I heard Rory basically talking about, this administration doesn't get it. They spend all this money. That's all Chelsea does is spend money. If this club came in and had the kind of constraints that FSG has put on with the spending practices, but yet had a club that didn't, fall into that FFP, conundrum and everything else, they would be screaming about that. Chelsea's a very, very weird lot when it comes to their fanhood. It's one of those things I'm trying. It's a difficult thing to figure out. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I have no respect for anybody that supports Chelsea. I don't. I really don't. I have no respect for anybody that supports Chelsea, especially if they're Irish. I don't care why you support. I don't care. I just don't care why I don't see any reason why you should or why you'd want to.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing likable about that club at all. So I don't like talking to people who support them because I'd rather talk to them about stuff that isn't football if I know they support Chelsea, because that club is just disgusting. It has been for 20 years. Their fans are notoriously notorious. Let's just put it that way. Always have been. Again, cheating is something they will say isn't what they did. They won't say they cheat. They'll say we had an owner that was sanctioned for something that wasn't in his control. They won't say that what they did was cheating. They'll never agree. It's like Man City fans. Fans in Newcastle. It's amazing what fans will glaze over and ignore. They'll just move past all that. They'll find a box in their head to put it in and justify it and say, well, that was just that. Then you'll get the people who go, oh yeah, I know what we did and I don't care. Bring back Roman. They just want some of these people, a lot of these Chelsea fans that act like hard men at these, after game kind of stand on the street type interviews. These boys are solicitors, architects and accountants that are making big, big money, and they go on camera and act like the big man. But they just live in a world where the rich spend money, and if you're rich, you should be allowed to spend what you want to spend your money on. And it's just crybabies that don't want that rich people spending their money on. They don't see it as cheating. They just see it as you being butthurt. They always will. They just don't see anything wrong with it. Even if a court says it's cheat, they'll go, yeah, that's just because they're jealous. Why shouldn't the rich spend £1 billion on something?
Wow. It's really, 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 really crazy too. Because there was a time when people would say London is blue, basically, because of Chelsea and because of,
well, most successful club in the 21st century. Most successful club. I'm not sure up until the treble. The treble might even up, but
no,
before the treble,
they were.
They won more trophies since the year 2000 than any other English club.
Yes, since 2000s, they've been the most successful club.
So it's 2024 now, right? So it's 2024, right? So that means that anybody that's 30 or younger and is a Chelsea fan has never known anything but total success, trophies every year. That's all, and that's not 13. That's 30. That's grown-up people that have never known anything but Chelsea being just a trophy winning machine. They don't have it. They don't have it in their brain to be able to turn around and go, oh yeah, it was all built on lies. We should hand all the trophies back. No, they'd rather cut off their right arm and give you that back than admit that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely our I'm gonna say thoughts and prayers, but but our support goes to Chris Khan if he was racially accosted by Chelsea fans outside of Wembley Stadium. That's a horrible situation to have to go through, and if anything, it's something that's not shouldn't and never should be a part of the game, it makes you stumble for words to figure out why and how you have to even speak on this. The fact that we have to even mention the fact that is horrible. And I
especially
hope
in
that,
London.
yeah.
I mean,
London's supposed to be
especially in
such a,
London.
global city.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like, it's the capital. It's supposed to represent so much about what England is and diverse cultures and everything else, for that to happen is absolutely abhorrent. So I'm sorry to hear that for Grizz Khan, but no, Grizz Khan, shout out to Grizz Khan. We all walk with you. You're red always. So that's all that matters. Just block it out and just keep on walking forward. I asked in the chat. I know some of you guys are listening rather than actually watching. So I did post a question. I said, put a 1 in the chat if you think Chelsea has surmounted Spurs as the London bottle jobs. Because often when people refer to bottle jobs, they often refer to refer to Spurs as the bottle job merchants, I guess you could call it. But as
No,
with the recent run of games, with the recent run I spoke of, have Chelsea surmounted Spurs? You can go ahead, Brian. You can tell me what you think.
No, I was just saying, just bottle jobs. You don't need to add
Just
merchant.
bottles.
Just bottle jobs. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Jared is saying they only won, so it really applies unless you talk domestic cup, but that would be disingenuous. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about, like in terms of the most successful club. And yeah, we are. They literally, in terms of trophies won in England since 2000, they've
Yes.
won more than that. So,
Right.
including domestic cups, are not disingenuous, and that is literally that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So
Great.
yeah,
You won the big contest. I get that, but
no, it's just in numbers. It's a numbers game. It's not a
yeah.
subject. It's not subjective. It's objective. It's just it's a numbers thing. But like I say, that treble from City would have gotten pretty close, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see Chelsea coming anywhere close to repeating that over the next 10 or 15 years. They're just see Chelsea. Thing about Chelsea is they were always a mid-table club, and they were a cup team. They were good at
Mm-hmm.
doing well in the FA Cup.
Right.
And they
Right.
were always just they were the archetypal mid-table team, but they're from London, so they're well supported. And then this guy comes in. They'd nearly gone out of business a couple of times. So, like I say, he's there so long that actually, I think they're float back to their true level as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to overtaking and getting back to the top. They can spend what they like. It's just not in their DNA without the basically unlimited money being pumped in by Thingy every week or every month. And 600 grand a month he was writing off on Chelsea, or 600 grand a week. He was, he's just writing it off, writes off £1 billion note. Without that, they're nothing. And Bowley comes in and he has he has basically a court order that tells him he has to spend a certain amount of money
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
equal up this whole thing.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of this money was spent. So I think just watch them drop back to Spurs are, before he came in, Spurs were arguably a bigger club than Chelsea.
Yeah.
They weren't
Yeah.
smaller. They weren't a smaller club. I'll tell you that. Before Abramovich came in, Spurs were not smaller than Chelsea. I'll tell you that.
No. Spurs
So
have a really, really have a definite history behind them that would justify them getting some types of praise for
Chelsea will
for
kill
their
for
heritage.
those states.
Yeah.
Chelsea will kill for Chelsea are screwed. They can't do anything to that stadium without having to spend. Because basically what you've got on one side of it, literally the boundary line on one side of it, the other side of that is the graveyard. You can't mess with that. You're just not, you can't buy that. And then on the other side is a railway line. That doesn't belong. You can't buy that. They're screwed. To build a new stadium there to improve it would cost. There'd be so much, fancy stuff that you'd have to do. You can't just buy some extra land around it and increase the size of the stadium.
Yeah. Here's something for you. Keep it real.
The old glass days, yeah.
Remember all the glass days, Brian. That they was mid-table.
If you watch back some of the older games, only late 80s. Part of Stamford Bridge at the end used to be kind of a little bit open, and it was basically a car park. And you'd see all these cars basically parked up basically near the hoardings in one corner of it. Like it was a car park, basically. Part of their stadium was a freaking car park. That's how shit they were. You know, it's that's their history. Small mid-table club that was pumped in with unlimited money. Now the unlimited money is gone. Look and watch and see what happens. They'll find their true level.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll see what happens. Well, I thought it was a funny little slide at some of the London teams as they go through, as the capital goes through their sad sorrows with Chelsea. Obviously Spurs are trying to find that resurgence in Ange, and it is Arsenal is what it is. I saw the disrespect that I saw on you guys don't get ESPN FC. You get the UK version. I don't know if that's I think that's a little bit different than the one that we get, which is with with Stevie Nichols and like those kinds of
Well, you get that if you watch it online. You can get that if you watch it online. You won't get on your basic package, but yeah.
Right.
I've seen him loads of times. He's because if you go on the other streams and it's usually one of those that is such a clown show.
Shaka Hislop. Yeah. They were on there. They were just on recently. I'm gonna go blank on some of them. They had, and he's a big time player too. Now I'm gonna go blank on his name. Is a Dutch player that they have. He's a black Dutch player. He played for Chelsea too. And then also, who else was on there? They had an Arsenal guy on there, and they had Craig Burley on there, and they were talking about basically about does who they think if Liverpool has the means and measure to get through and win any more trophies, if not win the title, the league title, and all the board, all the guys on there. Steve Nichols wasn't a part of the panel on this particular question, but all of them have basically all of them have Arsenal winning the title this year, which is very interesting. Pretty interesting concept of looking at it. They just think that we don't have.
They beat Burnley and West Ham. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I know, man. It is what it is. But
are you went over Frank's set? Are you going on Frank's show?
Yes, I am. So cool. I was going to say, Frank Carlisle's got a show coming up. It's already probably on right now.
Started already.
And also tomorrow, please do push that button to notifications to all, because I'm going to be doing a update or a preview show for our matchup on tomorrow, and it's going to be a fun time because I'm going to obviously give you the concept of who we're going to come out with, who I think, and Brian will be here too, who we think is going to be the squad that we're going to bring out for Southampton. But also I'm going to be able to give you a live update as the lineup comes in. Brian's got the feed. He's got that little he's got the fantasy feed also to give us even more scintillating ideas or the unreported leaks of who we should expect to start. But hey, man, FA Cup tomorrow, one Infinity Stone in the gauntlet. Let's just continue to push for all those Infinity Stones. You never know what you're going to be blessed to have in this life. So when you have the opportunity and it's in front of you, you either the true champions step up and take it, and that's take what they can. So I'm saying let's get this win tomorrow. Let's push on in the FA Cup. Let's get ready for obviously Forest, which is going to be another difficult game that we got to travel to. Since we have to travel to their stadium, and also, hey, as long as we have each other, and we walk together as it says, there's no beating us. There's no stopping us. So let's just continue to walk on, brothers and sisters. Let's continue to walk on together.
Right.
Thank you, Brian.
Take it easy.
You want to give a shout out before we bounce out?
No, just go over to Frank Carlisle if you're at nothing else. Anyone watching, go and check out Frank's show.
Yeah.
Live.
Definitely. Big up to everyone. Big up to Drunk Vigo. I just saw you stop in. Yeah, he says, and Realism Guy says, we take one game at a time, just keep on winning every game that has points to it. That's all we can do. Better they give the others airtime and we go under the radar. Spot on, brother. Let's just continue. Whatever game, next man up, next game up. That's just the mentality we have to keep and hold for sure. For anyone walking out that tunnel right there, that's what their mindset should be. And that's what our mindset should be as well. Support, love, and support always for our Reds. You're a Red. I'm a Red. Big up to each and every one of us. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, be sure to take care of yourselves. And as always, take care of your loved ones. And I will see you tomorrow. All right, guys. Take care.